AskReddit. What's your favorite subreddit to binge read? HFY is currently experiencing the rise of a legend. One man has put out over 120 chapters, sometimes 2 or 3 a day. He has built an amazing universe and continues to do so at breakneck speed. I highly recommend checking it out if you are into sci-fi or general humanity, yeah. I couldn't help but notice your name. Life Before Death? Journey Before Destination. Radiant. Death. I'm a closed captioner, and it's very useful to get a glimpse into the community that I've never worked hard enough to be able to truly communicate with, even though I like to think I provided them with an essential service. I want to start learning ASL too. I know a tad, and being able to communicate with deaf or hard of hearing in public sometimes brightens them right up. Smiles for days, especially the older people. You don't only help deaf people. My hearing's fine, but I can't understand half of what's being said in films or TV without subs, especially if I'm eating chips. Tomorrow on BuzzFeed, top 10 subreddits to binge while in quarantine. Wow, for real? I've noticed that. For time to time, they will make an article based on what's trending on AskReddit. And they always say, we asked people on Reddit, as if every AskReddit question was posted by a BuzzFeed bot. Idiots in cars. I just watch things. I love this sub. I've lost hours scrolling through it. Ask Historians. Such a good subreddit. I love that sub too. The deleted answers can be frustrating to see, but the strict moderation is why the answers are such high quality. Ask History doesn't have near the same level of moderation, which makes it more fun but also less reliable. I love reading posts in personal finance. Some posts are useful, but many of them are things like, I just got my $500 tax return. I have no emergency fund. Should I use my tax return to donate to my church or pay my bills? No way. Way more of them are 25M and just inherited 1.1 million from my grandma. I've worked hard my whole life. Should I put this in stocks and live off residuals, or should I buy a big house? I swear half of them are just humble brags. Am I the a-hole? Filtered to a-hole votings. It's amazing how idiotic and narcissistic people can be and not know it. One of my favorites is definitely the one where the dude just can't control his eating problems and ends up eating like 75% of a giant sub meant for a party. Definitely Amish. Actually, I'm kind of surprised there's not a sub for young Amish going through Rumspringa. I mean, there's a sub for literally every other tiny niche community. Legal advice. I have no idea why. I'm not a lawyer and have never been sued or had to sue anyone. I just like reading it. I love the ones involving trees. All I've learned from lurking is I really love tree law and never cut down someone else's tree. D&D green text. So many different things happen in people's campaigns that I'm always guaranteed something good if I head over there. Unsent letters. I have to be in the right mood, but I can waste hours in this one. Scenes from a hat. If the subject's good, the replies are bound to be better. I don't work here, lady. If you're in the mood for some crazy. I do work here, lady. If you're in the mood for the exact opposite kind of crazy. Pro-revenge. So supremely satisfying to read about people getting their comeuppance. Petty revenge if I'm not in a super sadistic disposition. Tumblr and 4chan. I have, in the past, browsed one right after the other to get to a true scope for what the internet can bring in the form of entertainment. AskReddit. Well, duh. Relationship advice. I'm not sure why it's my dirty pleasure, but I feel like after reading all the trash people go through and the comments that I can spot red flags in people from a mile away now. Most people, when you look through rose-colored glasses, all the red flags just look like flags. Relationship advice. Everything is flags all the time and all of them are red. Everything is red and flags. Besides AskReddit, when I want long stories, I'll go to Reddit serials. Short ones, I'll check out HFY. When I want to binge art, I'll go to Imaginary Leviathans and Reasonable Fantasy. TIFU also has a ton of creative fiction on there too. Botched surgeries and Instagram versus reality, because I'm insecure. suffered from eating disorders, and looking at those subreddits helps motivate me to keep working out, plus eating healthily to achieve a healthy and realistic physique. How does Instagram versus reality and Instagram reality differ? This is the first time I've seen versus reality. Not the Onion news articles that you'd think are from the Onion, but are actually real. There's some absolutely mind-boggling stuff in there. 8 the Onion. People believing the most outrageous Onion-type articles and commenting on them as if they're true. Freaking hilarious. Unpopular Onion. Sorted by controversial. You really get an insight into the depths of the human psyche. In a perfect world, sorting by controversial on that sub, you should just end up seeing loads of popular opinions, but oh well. That's the irony of the sub. If your post makes it to the top, it's not all that unpopular. No Sleep. That subreddit made me feel like such a moron. Read the whole staircase series of posts and was losing my mind because everyone in the comments were discussing it like it was true. So I was like, oh no, this is actually real? I finally looked at the subreddit rules after reading them all. I was like, oh, I'm just an idiot. Power washing porn. Somehow better than oddly satisfying. Ha, same. Every time I visit that sub, I think to myself, why do I enjoy this so much? Spicy. Salsa snobs. Hot sauce recipes. Hot sauce. Mexican food. Tacos. Just joined your whole list. Thanks. Cozy places. Landscaping. Room porn. Plus all the subs it links. Amateur room porn. Man cave. Woodworking. And then the dozens of animal subs. Thank you. I guess I never thought to look for landscaping. I only really found new subs linked off other subs. RPGH horror stories. For geeks that feel bad about themselves, seeing that asshats they talk about there makes you think, wow, at least I'm not that guy. It's amazing how many of them are basically about sexual assaulting people, often a player character, in a game. Like, of course most people don't appreciate that. That should just be common sense. Apparently not, since a YouTube dungeon master just got in big trouble for doing that. Came out with an apology on Twitter of, oops, my bad, let's not meet, and serial killers. Sometimes it's nice to read about ourselves on the internet. Am I the only one that this thread is a goldmine to? I mainly use Reddit to read before bed, and boy oh boy do I have some material now. Thank you everyone. Well, if you look at any AskReddit about the most toxic subs, I'd say 75% of these are usually among the top replies. Be careful out there. Nah, you're not alone. This is Reddit crack for me. Been joining awesome subs and upvoting like my life depends on it. Anti-MLM. Just discovered it recently and can't stop reading it. I'm high right now and really appreciate this post. Love binge reading interesting things while stoned. The problem is the first suggestion was unresolved mysteries for me, and that ended in a spooky high, lol. I did it to myself, I know. Some of my favorites. Line of Norman, a subreddit about writing small fictional tales about a fictional character named Norman, a rather unremarkable fellow. Unresolved mysteries, one of my favorite subs about mysterious cases that have yet to be solved. AMA disasters, a sort of museum for AMAs that have gone totally wrong. Depth Hub, a bit like Best Of for really in-depth discussion. Reddit writes Seinfeld, a fun little sub where people write scenes from Seinfeld based on prompts. The Gritty Past, a great little subreddit about accounts from history not often talked about because of their tragic and often violent nature. History Antidotes, pretty much speaks for itself, mostly content from the creator of the sub, who also does TGP, but others contribute too. Fan Theories, a great sub full of some pretty great theories about movies, shows, and books. Tales from Tech Support, maybe. Like many things, it ain't what it used to be. Take a look through their top of all time, and there are some really great serial stories. The one with the young Euro woman working a shady tech shop run by real-life creeps is amazing. Right now, the trend is WFH non-stories. as opposed to the usual non-stories. It says right in the rules the tale should be interesting. Sorry, the fact that you reset someone's password is not interesting. Wanting to contribute and having something worthy of sharing don't often align. There are a few things I would like to see banned, such as any comment about the keyboards or any reference to the IT crowd. But there's reason people make them. Just my personal preference, because the keyboards will never be resolved. Everyone got played by a tease, and the IT crowd is super overrated. Writing prompts is fantastic. Sometimes they have short series, and other times it can be basically a small novel, but extremely talented writers on that sub. I'd like writing prompts a lot better if it was just the same overused prompts on a loop every 2 weeks. I had to leave the sub after a while, if only because I was so tired of seeing the same 10 prompts on my feed. Locked Away by Omega Weapon is a collection of his experiences with choosing beggars and general butthole customers. As a bartender, I live vicariously through this business owner and his wonderfully witty smackdowns. 10 out of 10. It's turned into a dark depression rant recently, just a warning, but thanks my dude. Hobby drama is great, as is Unresolved Mysteries, and its smaller cousin Non-Murder Mysteries. I'd probably binge read comic strip history if it weren't for the fact that most of the posts on that sub are from me. Don't forget Pictures of Ian Sleeping. RBI, Reddit Bureau of Investigation. Redditors trying to solve real-life mysteries. Surely there's no way this could go awry.